What's up, guys? It's Javier here. Welcome to my podcast. I'm excited to have you guys here. I don't have a name for it yet, but there soon will be one. Drop some names. Shoot me a message if you have some good ideas. The reason why I'm starting this podcast today is because I want to be able to give value to you guys in the real estate world. I have a lot of people asking me questions about real estate, whether that's residential, multifamily, creative finance, STR, and even being a realtor. And of all these things, I have done all of them. And I want to be able to give back to you guys in all these different segments. That way you can hear it from the podcast. I'm going to bring tons of great speakers in each sector of multifamily, short-term rental, insurance world, anything that has to pertain to real estate. I'm going to be bringing people in on my podcast. That way they can give you guys value and you can hear from the experts along with myself. So some of the things that I'm getting on a daily basis is short-term rental questions. Is a market legally zoned? Is this market profitable? Is this market? I got a call yesterday. It was funny. I got a call yesterday and a gentleman asked me, hey, can you look at this property? He sends me an email. Hey, can you look at this property? I want to know if this property would be great for Airbnb. And when I open up these emails or I'm talking to somebody face to face when they see me at an event, I can quickly determine within seconds if the property is going to be suitable for Airbnb. We all know that Airbnb has changed a lot over a few years, but that's just one of many things. And a lot of inquiries that I get is, hey, is this property going to work for Airbnb? More things that I get on a daily basis from you guys is, how do I do a creative finance deal? How do I structure a subject to deal? How do I structure seller finance deals? And so I'm going to be able to speak with you guys on all these different topics. That way you guys can see all the little variables and get knowledge. Not only that, again, I'm going to be bringing an expert in on each thing along with myself to talk about all these subjects like seller finance, novations, Subtos, all these different topics and how you guys can get creative in today's market, which we all know the bank rates and debt structure is very high right now. So if you want to be able to continue to scale your portfolio and not be affected by the banks, you have to get creative. And that's what I've done. So that's another thing, a reason why I'm going to be launching this podcast to be able to give you guys value in many different ways in real estate. Being a realtor, a lot of you guys know, and a lot of you guys have been following me this past few years. I have been a realtor since 2015 and sold hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate, residential real estate. And I'm going to be able to give you guys back on what my secret tips of nurturing my database, because the ones that have been following me know all my business comes from referral, right? I'm now almost 9 years in the business of being a realtor being a realtor as a licensee. I today list properties, and that's all I do. I don't deal with buyers typically. I only deal with listings, and I'm going to be able to pour into you guys, showing you guys how I've been able to nurture my database and get that repeat business without even picking up the phone. I don't even have to pick up the phone anymore and call my clients. I did that. I went through the trenches, and so I know the aspect of having to work through the phones and calling, day to day, and being a realtor, and those little parts of being a realtor that suck, like doing an open house or making tons of phone calls or, chasing down your clients, or, hey, you have an appointment, you're excited, and it's like, oh man, my client didn't show up today, right? And they didn't show up to the appointment, and people are, flaking out on you all the time. So, deep diving with you guys. I get a lot of realtor questions. I get a lot of realtors who see my posts online and they want to know, how am I moving so much real estate? Even on today as a down market, the market is down. How am I moving these real estate? How am I pricing these properties? Because right now we all know things aren't moving. So if you're not aggressively pricing the market, you're not going to be able to move that listing that you hope and prayed that would sell. So I'm going to be able to deep dive with you guys on that. So I'm getting a lot of these little questions, and I thought opening a podcast up and be able to bring you guys all this value and being able to bring in industry experts along with myself on all these different topics because I've done all this stuff and I've done it all at a high level, and I want to be able to share it with you guys because I think it's going to bring a lot of value. So all these different things are going to come to you guys, and I want you guys to continue to follow with me during the journey and be able to document this, guys, and be able to something for you guys to be able to watch when you're in an airport or you're at the gym. This stuff is going to be super, super high value to you guys. I'm going to be bringing in top key speakers for you guys to listen to. So stay tuned. I'm excited for you guys to follow the journey. And just want to talk a little bit about like some of the things that I really am passionate about. For the people who have been following me, you know me, I love to travel. I've been traveling prior to COVID to 5 different countries every single year. And I would just pick 5 different countries because I feel like the world's so beautiful. And about in 2016, I caught the travel bug from a friend I'll never forget. I was in a running club at the time, and there's this guy, he's like, hey man, I'm heading out to Thailand. I'm like, I looked over at him, I was like, what do you mean you're heading out to Thailand? He's like, yeah man, I'm heading out to Thailand for a month. I'm just gonna live like the nomadic lifestyle. I'm like, nomadic lifestyle? I started researching like, what is the nomadic lifestyle in Thailand? I've never heard of this. And so 2016, I remember I was in a running club, and because I used to be a marathon runner, and I was like, dude, you're going to Thailand? You're going to be a nomad? Okay, well, let me look into this. And he's like, yeah, man, you should get into it. And I was super excited and super intrigued. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I remember another friend's like, hey, man, you want to go on this cruise? I'm like, cruise? So in 2016, I caught this travel bug. And so I made it a goal of mine, one of my personal goals outside of real estate and investing and doing everything I just spoke about, was to travel the beautiful world that we live in. I got to say, to today, I've been to approximately 12 countries, and COVID kind of slowed that down, just like it slowed a lot of people down in different aspects of their lives. But remember, one of the first countries I went through was DR, but I did a missionary trip over there. And what was really impactful for me about that trip was I went to the third world country of DR, and I went to some areas where we did a big missionary. We were helping them gather water. We were helping them, plant food and build water filtration systems for some of these little villages and helping kids learn English. And to me, that was really touching. And not only was it touching, I got to see a new part of the world, and I got to shake hands and put smiles on people's faces and bring my energy to these communities. And for those of you who know me in person, I love spreading my energy. I love giving back in any way I can. But one of the ways I give back for me that costs me nothing is my energy. And if I'm in a room with you, or if you met me and you've shaken my hand, me giving my energy back to you is just awesome. For me, it's just so fulfilling. And when you text me on the next day after you met me, like, hey, Javier, I love your energy. That for me, that missionary trip was all for me. Once my friend said, hey, I go to Thailand, I'm going to be a digital nomad. And then I went to DR, boom, that was it for me. So one of my big things is going to 5 different countries every year. It doesn't have to be for long. Just seeing a different part of the world, seeing different perspective. Being multi-cultured is a huge thing for me, and that was one of my biggest passions to this day. I've been slacking on the travel lately just because I've been a little bit busier on the business side, but I'm gonna revamp my traveling back up because I love to decompress. I love to just go to a random place and just meet new people, shake new hands, see where they're from, see why they eat sitting on the floor, or maybe they don't use a spoon. That type of thing to me is super powerful, and it gives me different perspective. Because listen, we all know at the end of the day, it's all perspective. And so that is one of my big, huge passions that I love to do. Another one that I have recently picked up is pickleball. I'm like a little pickleball fanatic now. I can't believe it. It's a sport that my girlfriend's mother told me about a little over a year ago, and I was like, nah, that sport's for old people, and no one plays that game. That sport's for old people. And I gave it a try. I remember I went to Dick's Sporting Goods. I bought the cheapest paddle. I meant the cheapest paddle. And for you guys to know that play pickleball, that having a good paddle is essential. And I bought the cheapest paddle, and that thing barely hit the ball. And I remember like a couple days later, I ended up switching the paddle out and getting something a little bit higher end so I can actually pay the sport, because it's one of those things. It's like, It's like not having a good golf club when you're playing golf, right? So returned that thing and I got a better paddle, and oh my God, I have been hooked on pickleball ever since. I got a membership at Orlando Racket Sports and I play. It's really one of those things that helps me, decompress and, gives you a nice little exercise. And believe it or not, when you get good in the game and you understand the game, how much strategy is behind pickleball, to me, it makes me relate into like everyday life because there's so much strategy behind it, where you're going to place that ball. And so pickleball has been something that I have catapulted in and I have loved to do for this last year and a half. So that one of the things too that I have also have taken on along traveling and pickleball is I enjoy going out and meeting people at like a farmer's market. I love going out on a Sunday and being in the local little cities that have a farmer's market and like scooting around on a scooter or bicycle. Like those things, like for me, are real fun. Get out and get fresh air. Those things are one of the things I also like to do on a free time. I got a buddy of mine who's got like these high power scooters that are like thousands of dollars, and we all know about like the Lime scooters and we all know about the Uber scooters, but these things are like Mac Daddy scooters that go 60 miles an hour. You have to put a full face mask on, helmet on, excuse me. And believe it or not, so one of the things I like to do with him is we like to pack those things up in my car because they fold down, and we'll go and we'll hit like, he maps out this whole area of where we're gonna go on what trails and what city. So we'll go like to Tampa and we'll go ride. We'll go to like north of Orlando. We've gone as far as like Atlanta, go ride scooters, and you get to get intimate with the cities and get to stop by all these little shops that you never thought. And all these cities right now are integrating all these walking trails and stuff like that, and they go miles and miles. Fun fact, a lot of people don't realize, but Florida has a trail that goes from one coast to the other. You do have to use some main roads, but it goes one coast to the other. You could take a trail from one side to the other. And, one thing that has really impacted me in my life has been, I will never forget, back, I would say in 2015, 16, I got invited by a friend that was with an organization called UNICEF. And UNICEF is an organization that they have all different aspects. I'm not 100% about like exactly what they do, but one of their sectors of what they do is they help homeless out. And I remember every year I used to buy homeless kids bicycles. I would go out, literally buy all the bicycles in the Walmart rack and donate it to these kids. But I met a friend that invited me to the event, and they throw like this huge charity that has people bring clothes to donate to them. People will bring food. So you get all these different organizations and businesses that would contribute, and they would pull all their resources together. So I would donate bicycles. You'd have another guy would donate food. And you have another guy who would bring bounce houses and pretty much make it like a little circus for these kids that were, a little bit less fortunate than the rest. And we were able to give them, a Christmas that they would never ever would have had because they're just a little bit less fortunate. So I would get all these bicycles, round them up, and give it to the kids, and they would raffle off these bicycles. And getting to see these kids' face when they get the raffle ticket and the guy on the microphone will call out the number, and getting to see that kid jump on that bicycle was so significant to me. And one of the reasons why I personally wanted to donate bicycles was, obviously we're in an era to where kids want to sit inside their home, play on video games, and not leave the house. So I was trying to think of what way can I get them outside of the house. One of the ways was, if I donate them a bicycle, they can sit outside and play, ride it, exercise, and it keeps them, again, outside in fresh air. You know me, being out in fresh air is super, super huge, and being out in nature is super huge for me. So getting to see that significance, the look on their face was just astronomical for me. So that really, really impacted my life, and being able to donate to those kids. So I have a couple right now. Some of my people that, going back, actually, I want to touch on one thing. Going back, how I really got into the real estate arena. I moved to Orlando from Ocala, Florida, which is the horse capital of Florida. And I was renting a bedroom at the time, and one of my roommates, I was renting a bedroom for 400. One of my roommates' friends was in real estate. I remember he used to come, he was always like all swagged out. He had his suit and tie and his vest. And I remember he used to come over, and I was like, what did this guy do for a living? Like, he's always coming over and he's all swagged out. And so, you know me, I love to chat with people. I love meeting people. And he's like, I'm in real estate. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, and when he met me, he's like, going back on my energy, he's like, dude, he's like, you should be in real estate. You're awesome. He's like, you should be in real estate. And I remember he showed me like a $5,000 commission check in his car. We took a ride in his car. He showed me this $5,000 commission check, and I was like, wow, I can make that amount of money. And at the time I was only making $12 an hour. And so I was like, wow, I can make that amount of money being a realtor. I never looked back. I went and got my real estate license. So he influenced me into getting into the real estate world. And so he was my very, very first influence. And he was a realtor at the time. And he was also investing in the real estate. So not only was he selling it, he was investing in it. And I got to see the blueprint of short-term rentals, because he also got me into that as well. So at the time, going back in 2015, when I was just getting my license and I studied for the real estate test, and I was catapulting into the real estate arena, he was buying real estate and he was selling it at a high level. And I was like, whoa, wow, this is awesome. Why can't I do this? And so he was doing short-term rentals with all his properties, and he was doing conversions in garages and stuff like that. He was adding square footage. So at the time, for that first few years, he was a huge influence to me. And he was like essentially my guinea pig and getting into all this. Fast forward today, I have a lot of people that I'm looking up at right now that are my role models and who've influenced me. On the creative side, Pace Morby, got to give it a shout out to him. He has influenced me a ton. I felt like I knew everything in real estate, which I don't. And he gave me more tools in my tool belt today that I'm able to utilize and help out more sellers and help out more investors that I never would have been able to have access to if I didn't get into creative finance. And so he's one of my mentors on the creative finance side. Multifamily, I'm in. And Vina Jetty, she is queen of multifamily. All she does is multifamily, and she's my big, big role model into multifamily. She has been doing it for lots of years, and one of the things that she's focused on is continuing to grow her portfolio, doing fund to funds. And so she has been a huge inspiration to me doing multifamily. So those are my main real estate influencers. Traveling right now, one of my influencers is... trying to remember his name. His name is, he's been to every single country, 197 countries. He's been traveling for years. He is my inspiration. He wasn't my original inspiration for traveling was going back to that running club and meeting a guy in there, and he inspired me to do the Thailand trip, which I meant to say earlier. I have been to Thailand. I've been there. I was there for a month. Been to Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Koh Samui, Phuket, and Phi Phi Island. So I've been all over. But right now, my inspiration is Drew. His name is Drew. Follow my Instagram. He has been to all countries. He continues to travel at a high level, and he has phenomenal videos on all the countries he's been to. And pickleball, I'm not really following, too many people in pickleball right now, like as far as like experts or stuff like that. I just enjoy playing the game with all these new people that I get to meet. And that's what I love about pickleball. It is super diverse. You never know who you're going to meet. And I can tell you right now, I have been beat on the court from 80-year-old guys who have just swamped me. So, that's one of the things that in pickleball is interesting, because you would never think like you'd play somebody who's like, way older than you, and they just like move that ball around you on the court. And you're like, holy shit, how do they do that? So, as far as pickleball, I'm not following any experts right now, but that sport is just blowing up right now. It's crazy how many people are endorsing it and playing it and how diverse that sport is. So one of the things also I like to dive into is one of the books that I personally has brought a lot of motivation is by David Goggins. I like his mindset on things, on how our mind keeps us, away from so many different things that are so fearful for us. And it's crazy because it's like You hear, if you follow him and you know who I'm talking about, he's always like, stay hard, stay hard, stay hard. And he's very militant because obviously he's a Navy SEAL. And a part of me, I'm very militant. So he's resonated with me. So Stay Hard by David Goggins has been an inspiration for me. And he helps, I like to, I didn't read his book. I was an Audible. I'm not big into picking up books and actually physically reading them, but I like Audibles. I enjoy them. I have been kind of away from them lately, but do have the Audible for Amazon, and I've got tons of credits in there that I need to use, or as we know, they all expire. So, but yeah, I actually need to re-listen to them because, I start getting lazy in certain categories of my life, and, it's just like every time, I know in the back of my mind, you just have that laziness side of you that is like, hey, don't do this, or hey, stay comfortable. And that's one of the things as humans, we like is comfort. We don't want to go out of our comfort zone, or we feel fearful when we, stand, or we're up with like heights, we get fearful, or we might get fearful talking in front of a camera, or we get fearful when we're talking on stage. Like these things are just like little voice in the back of your head that's saying, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So one of my things that I like is by David Goggins, and that's one of the books that really resonates and really hits home for me. And so I love David Goggins. So anyway, I'm glad that all you guys are, tuned in, and I hope that this podcast brings lots of value for all you guys. Like I said, keynote speakers are going to be mingling and rubbing elbows with me. That way we can provide value to you guys. And I just want this community for you guys to come back to and be able to get your questions answered. It's for you guys to listen to this on your downtime and be with me. So thank you. Don't forget, follow me on YouTube, Javier Paredes on YouTube, Javier Paredes on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook, Javier Paredes. All my stuff is tailored, fitted to me, Javier Paredes. Don't forget, I don't have a name for this podcast yet, but don't worry. I'm going to count on you guys to be able to spit names back to me and let me know what you think would be a great name for my podcast. So I look forward to mingling with you guys and continuing to grow. So let me know and keep me posted on my new podcast name. Thank you guys. See you later.